Welcome back, everyone. This is Joan Kaler with Life Without Limits, where there are no limits to what you can achieve. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're listening in. We are going to continue our discussion with Liz Fisher about how emotional freedom techniques, also known as EFT, also known as tapping, helped her break her addiction to trichotillomania and hair pulling. Liz is a certified EFT coach from EFT International. Her website is tapintohealth.net, and she is a treasure. Welcome back, Liz. It's so good to have you here.
I appreciate you doing this with me. This is so fabulous. I'm thrilled that people are going to learn a little bit here and hopefully have some hope. And it's all because of EFT.
It's all because of EFT. God bless Gary Craig, the creator of EFT, and all of our teachers and trainers that have led us to this wonderful place. So this podcast, we are going to focus more on how EFT cured trichotillomania for you. And in the last episode, we talked about focusing on the nuances of the addiction and the behavior, but we did more than that, Liz. We went deep. We went deep into your subconscious. Do you want to talk about that?
Talk about that, yes. And like I mentioned,
whatever you want to talk about, but
like I mentioned in the first session, I was looking for a specific thing that happened that triggered this in me back when I was 8. So Joan and I we did go back to when I was, young, and she had me write a story, which was really got the process of the healing going. She said, write a story about when you were a child and, around that age, when you felt like you weren't good enough or something, something wasn't good enough. You weren't appreciated for who you were or something like that. And I wrote this. For some reason, this memory came to me about being around the age of 12 or so. And I was going to a school dance, and I didn't have anything fun to wear. I went over to one of my aunt's houses, and she helped me pick out an outfit from her closet. We were the same size. She fitted me with shoes and jewelry and showed me how to style my hair. She was a hairdresser. She knew about my hair pulling. She helped me style my hair in a way that was, acceptable, and you couldn't see any bald spots. So I felt pretty confident. And that was, a week before the dance or something. And when I got to the dance, I just remember being very alone. I sat on a bench. I can vividly recall this gym. It was at a different school's gym. It was dark, and everyone was getting to dance with the boy, but me. I sat on this bench all by myself, and I thought, what am I even doing here? Like, I felt so great before I got here, and then I felt so unworthy being there. Like, what was wrong with me? Why didn't anyone want to dance with me? And we tapped about, feeling sad about that exact situation, and, my sadness and upset. And I'm pretty sure I cried while we were tapping. And it ended up, Joan asked the perfect questions, and the specific thing about it that ended up coming up was that I wanted to pull my hair so bad while I was sitting on that bench, but I couldn't because I was in public and someone would have seen me. So that was my drug of choice to calm my nerves, to, when I was feeling uncomfortable, I pulled, and I wanted to pull so badly then, and I couldn't because I was in public. So it just was, that was an eye-opener that I had uncomfortable feelings. I was in an awkward situation. I felt that that was my coping mechanism.
Yes.
That had been. And that's what I wanted to do. I couldn't do it, but I wanted to. So Joan, that was one of the first one of our first or second sessions together. And that's what, kind of started it off with.
That's when the deep healing really began for you. You are so brave to talk about this, Liz.
I'm happy to. I'm just thrilled that I could figure this out, with you, when I didn't think it was even possible. But what else would you like me? I mean, I can elaborate on that and our other sessions together, or.
Well, what I want people to know is that it's more than just the behavior. It's what happened around the time when someone started pulling or picking, why their bodies chose that to help, like you say, the drug of choice, to help reduce stress, to help reduce anxiety, to help reduce a belief system of I'm not good enough, or nobody likes me, nobody wants me, I'm not perfect enough. Whatever that negative belief system is that we take on, and then everything in our life, we make our decisions and our choices based on those negative beliefs. So if you think of that negative belief being on top of the table, and then you think of the legs that are holding the table up, what we do is we take each leg of that table, which is an unhappy event or a trauma, and we tap on it until the leg falls. It disappears. And then the table starts to fall. The top of the table starts to fall. This is the analogy that we use in EFT land. And when that table becomes unstable and starts to fall, the top of the table, guess what? The belief that's on top of that table falls too. And then when that belief falls, then we start to take our power back and start to change our thinking and start to feel better about ourselves, so that when stress comes, because stress is a part of life, we can't avoid stress. Mm-hmm. But when it comes, we have the tools to deal with it. And instead of pulling, we tap.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Joan had me do. When you feel like you're going to pull, tap. Or also, the other thing was take a nap. Because I felt guilty. That was another thing. I felt guilty for relaxing.
Self-care.
Yeah, my husband really gives me a hard time because I am raising kids and I don't have a full-time job at the moment, even though that is a full-time job. So there was a lot of guilt around that, and that I didn't deserve to take care of myself. So, that goes way back though to that story that I wrote, because I felt, like I wasn't good enough. I didn't deserve to even have a partner to dance with at this dance. I didn't deserve to take a nap if I was tired. But Joan said, you know what, Liz, what would you do if you weren't taking a nap? I would be pulling because I was anxious because I wanted to take a nap. So what would you rather do? Would you rather take a nap or would you rather pull? What's more beneficial? So I when I felt like I was going to pull, I would tap. I would also take a rest if I felt like it. If, and I didn't, I tapped a lot prior to this, just so everyone knows. I was getting certified. I had a personal peace procedure with hundreds of things on it from my past that I had gone through and still couldn't get rid of this hair pulling. So it might not be this easy for everyone, but I know how to get to that point, to get all the other stuff to collapse on your list, so that I could be able to work on these specific things. And it was, there were a lot of, there was a lot of eye-openers about my childhood during those sessions. And I was able to, we talked about keeping my hands on my lap when I felt like I was going to pull, taking a deep breath, tapping, taking a nap. And we also talked about, this is what did it for me. We talked about feeling my feelings. It was okay to sit with these uncomfortable feelings. And no one ever told me that. My parents had a horrible relationship. They got divorced when I was 15. I was in the middle of that. I never wanted to ruffle anyone's feathers. My parents were not really, I wouldn't say that they weren't around, but maybe emotionally they weren't around for me. My coping mechanism was to pull my hair so I wouldn't have to bother anyone with any of my problems or my yucky feelings. So to the fact to be able to have to sit with those feelings was like a lot for me. It was like overwhelming and it made me sick. So I would have the overwhelming feelings and I would tap. And that's what Jen told me to do. No one always feels good 100% of the time. People have feelings of butterflies in their stomach, or they feel like crap or whatever. I wasn't allowing myself to do that. I was numbing it by pulling my hair. So to sit there with those feelings and tap when they came up until they disappeared was the key thing for me too.
Wow. Yes. It's okay to feel sad. Excuse me. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel angry. It's okay to feel guilty. But then now we have a tool to make those feelings dissolve faster so that they don't linger. We don't carry them around with us for hours and days. Because what happens is we lose more hair or we pick more skin.
Yep. And I haven't lost one hair since February.
Oh my gosh.
It's like shocking to me that this Joan and I also did some work with chakras. And I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit, Joan.
Yeah, that was so wild to me because at one point I said, I got this idea because I'm also trained in helping people balance their chakras. These are the 7 main energy centers of the body, like circuit breakers for a house. And they each have their own function. But because, if I may say, Liz, because your pulling site was your scalp, right?
Correct.
Okay. So I said, let's try something interesting.
This gives me goosebumps when you're even going to talk about it. I seriously have goosebumps. Because this also is what did it for me. The thought of the fact of sitting with my feelings and then this technique that Joan came up with out of the blue. Go ahead, Joan.
I'm trying to remember. Now, your pulling site was where? Your crown or behind your ear?
The sides. So
okay. So what we did was, because the human eye cannot see, or there are some humans that are blessed that can see it. I can't. I can feel it. But I said, let's take the energy of that urge to pull and remove it. So for those that are listening, I've been trained on taking your left hand and unwinding the energy of the urge above the place where you pull. Okay, so you're going to do that with your left hand, and then you're going to pretend that that urge is gray dust, and you're going to take your fingers and hand, make it like a scoop, and you're going to scoop up the gray dust from above the area from which you pull, and you're going to grab that gray dust and you're going to throw it into the earth, or if you wish to, you can think of violet fire and throw the gray dust into violet fire or into the sun. So you unwind the energy, the intensity of the urge, and instead of pulling out a hair, you pull out the urge from above your pulling site. So that's what we did too. I thought, what the heck? Let's just try that and see what happens.
Yeah, that was like one of the key things too, the sitting with the feelings and unwinding that energy, because there is an energy there, like my head would be buzzing to pull.
Yes.
And it's that calmed the whole thing. I was thinking about nothing. I was just thinking, I'm going to unwind that energy and I'm going to scoop it out and I'm going to throw it back into the earth. And then the urge would be gone. So I did that for the urges, but for the uncomfortableness, I would tap. I would and sit with those feelings and tap until they were gone. but the urge, because you're used to, most people that have been doing this for 10, 20, 30 years like I was, that's a big deal to not want to touch up there. And that the unwinding of the energy is what did it for me.
So what I want to explain to everybody who's listening and watching right now is this is a whole new concept. Well, it's not new. It's over 5,000 years old because this is based in Chinese medicine. But instead of what do I need to fix about the chemistry of my brain that makes me pull, think of what is the energy of this addiction for me? How can I change the energy? Or how can I remove the energy of this addiction? Okay, work with every feeling. Emotion is energy in motion. So every emotion that you have has energy. Every urge to pull or pick that you have is energy. When you use tapping and you use chakra balancing, you are shifting the energy. Actually, you are removing the energy of that addiction. And guess what comes in its place? What would you say comes in its place, Liz? Peace, joy, happiness, no urge to pull.
Freedom.
Freedom, of course. Freedom. Woo! I want to get a tattoo so much. I just can't think of what type of tattoo I want to get. This has inspired me to get a tattoo. I know.
Tap about it. Tap about it.
Everybody who's listening and watching, yes, Joan's going to the other side. I thought it was a big deal when I got a second ear piercing when I was 40 years old. Now that I'm of a certain age, okay. Stay tuned to see. Stay tuned to see. I will put it in an obvious place. There will be no secret tattoos. If I decide to do that, I will share it with the world for sure. But
freedom
has freedom.
I have freedom. I can do anything I want, and I don't ever have to worry about that controlling me because I know how to manage it. Even if it would come up, which I still tap, but I don't tap specifically on hair. I don't ever have the urge to. I can tell you that I have dreams, very vivid dreams. And Joan, I meant to tell you this before we did the podcast, but it slipped my mind. I have dreams that I'm pulling my hair in my dreams, but it's like I wake up and think, oh my God, I just pulled out a big spot on my head. And then I think, no, that was in the past. So that's never happened to me before where I dreamt that I had pulled my hair.
Yep, that's your subconscious completing the healing, because I used to have that too.
Okay, it's crazy. And I thought, okay, I'm going nuts. I'm going to pull my hair out.
No. It's the complete.
When I would wake up and realize that nothing happened and it was just a dream, I was like, oh, thank God, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm not doing that anyway. But it's like your subconscious, it's something that happened in the past. So I feel like it's true. I'm not going to do it again because my subconscious is already thinking that I don't do it. It's just, I'm thinking about things that from the past.
So everyone who's listening and watching out there is hope. You can't stop pulling and picking. Allow yourself to think outside the box, even if you don't completely understand what all this is about. What I like to tell people is, unless somebody's a trained pilot, if you are a trained pilot, God bless you, because I love to fly anyway. But what I'm saying is, think of me as the pilot on this plane. You don't know how to fly the plane, but you're trusting Liz and I to get you to reach your goal or get you to your destination safely. We know how to do that. We know how to help you have the freedom of no longer pulling and picking. So you contact Liz on tapintohealth.net. I will have this in the description, both YouTube and iTunes, and contact me at joankaler.com. I would be honored. Both of us would be absolutely honored to help you be free of this. I don't care if you've been pulling for 6 months or 50 years. It's possible to stop.
And I'm here to tell you, it's when I thought there was no hope, it cured me.
Yep. Because I pulled for 25 years and found my way out of it. This is way before tapping came. But tapping, EFT is in my blood. I can't not use it to help people because I know it works. And ladies and gentlemen, it's evidence-based. There's lots of science behind this. Evidence-based EFT.com. Go there to Dr. Peter Stapleton's site or go to EFTtappingtraining.com. There's lots of research on this.
Or read Peter Stapleton's book.
Peter Stapleton's book. Oh, I wish I had my copy. I have it in my other office.
I
But
don't have mine.
yeah, The Science of Tapping by Peter, P-E-T-A, Stapleton, S-T-A-P-E, S-T-A-P-L-E-T-O-N. Oh, just one more little point that I want to make that I'm really excited about. Dr. Stapleton and I will be talking, and I'm planning on going down to Australia in 2020 to do research and get hard data on EFT for trick and body-focused repetitive behaviors. So I will get the data because Liz and I know this works.
I know. I might have to go with Joan too.
Come with me to Australia. I'm getting the data, folks.
Yes.
So for anybody that wants data, it's coming. It's going to take probably a year or so, but I am going because Dr. Stapleton, I mean, there are other fabulous researchers on EFT in this world, although I think she's the #1 researcher, but that's my bias. But I'm going down under to get the data and work with Dr. Stapleton and her team. Liz, thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you so much for your courage.
I'm so glad to
fabulous. Okay, everyone, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We have one more episode with Miss Liz, and this time the conversation is going to be about emetophobia, which is the fear of throwing up. So stay tuned. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for watching.